You ever hear the one about the woman who walked into a room full of rich white guys in suits, claimed she had invented a new cryptocurrency that would replace Bitcoin, and then walked out with over $4 billion and vanished into thin air? No, that's not a Reddit thread or some Netflix docu-exploitation plotline. That's real life. That's Dr. Ruja Ignatova, or as the FBI now calls her, one of the 10 most wanted fugitives on Earth. But back in 2014, she was just another charismatic grifter with a PowerPoint and some very shiny heels. Oh, and a PhD from Oxford. You know, because if you're gonna scam people out of billions, at least do it with a British accent and a doctorate. The story starts in Bulgaria. Ruja was born there, but she didn't stay long. Her family was smart. They moved to Germany when she was a kid, and she quickly started collecting degrees like Pokémon cards, PhD in law, masters in economics, and a face that looked like she'd walked off a perfume ad for deadly ambition. She didn't just want money, she wanted legacy. Ruja wasn't interested in being rich. She wanted to be royalty, not in some tiara-wearing, Meghan Markle pity post way, but in a digital cult leader kind of vibe. So what does she do? She enters the chaos realm of crypto in 2014, the Wild West era, when people were still buying pizza with Bitcoin and assuming Dogecoin was a joke. And she creates OneCoin, a revolutionary cryptocurrency that would democratize finance and make all of its early adopters very, very rich. Except, spoiler alert, OneCoin had no blockchain. It had no ledger. It wasn't decentralized. It was a glorified Excel spreadsheet wrapped in some really expensive marketing. But nobody knew that. Not at first. Because Ruja was slick. She didn't target tech bros or crypto anarchists. She targeted boomers, housewives, farmers, teachers. She hosted lavish conferences, velvet curtains, gold lighting, violin music. She wore red lipstick like war paint and strutted across stages in cities from London to Kuala Lumpur, and people ate it up. She told crowds that Bitcoin was dying, and that OneCoin was the future. She showed fake graphs. She waved around fake certificates. She called OneCoin the Bitcoin killer, and people believed her. They sold their houses. They mortgaged their futures. They recruited friends and family into what they thought was the next wave of digital gold. But it wasn't a revolution. It was a cult. OneCoin had all the hallmarks of an MLM. You didn't buy coins. You bought packages that gave you access to educational materials and the promise of coin allocations. You got bonuses for recruiting others. You got rank titles like Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, like you were unlocking achievements in a game. Except the only person winning was Ruja. Behind the scenes, she wasn't living like a crypto visionary. She was living like a Bond villain. Mansions in Sofia and Dubai, private jets, secret diamond vaults in the Emirates. There were whispers that she was laundering money through Dubai shell companies, that she had protection from the Bulgarian mafia, that she was bribing politicians. But as long as the money kept flowing, nobody asked too many questions. Until they did. In 2016, financial regulators in Germany, Hungary, India, and Italy started sniffing around. Suddenly, banks were freezing OneCoin accounts. Investigative journalists began digging. Ruja stopped appearing in public. And then, in October 2017, she booked a Ryanair flight to Athens and poof, gone. Just like that. She was supposed to speak at a OneCoin event in Lisbon days later. She never showed. Her staff claimed she was dealing with security concerns. Some said she was in Russia. Others said she had cosmetic surgery and was hiding in plain sight in Eastern Europe. One theory said she was dead, but none of them could prove a thing. Because the thing about vanishing after stealing $4 billion is you can afford to disappear well. Meanwhile, back at OneCoin HQ, the walls were closing in. Her brother, Konstantin Ignatov, tried to take over the operation but got himself arrested at Lax. Classic move. Never try to scam Americans while entering the country. That literally invented the IRS. He flipped, turned state's witness, gave up everything. That OneCoin had no blockchain. That the wallets were fake. That Ruja planned it all. That she told him, and I quote, "Take the money and run and don't look back." Which is exactly what she did. The US charged her with wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering. The FBI put her on the 10 most wanted list. Reward? $5 million for any information leading to her arrest. But here's the kicker, it's been 7 years, and no one has found her. There's no confirmed sighting, no fingerprints, no paper trail, not even a suspiciously glamorous woman paying for caviar with crypto in some alpine ski town. Nothing. Just the echo of her voice in old OneCoin seminars, telling people to believe in the revolution, believe in her, and they did. They still do. Even now, you'll find Facebook groups with tens of thousands of members who claim Ruja was framed, that OneCoin was real, that it was destroyed by the banks because it was too powerful. You can't make this shit up. This is beyond Theranos. This is beyond Firefest. This is an entire cult built on PowerPoint slides and blind hope. And Ruja? She's not just a scammer. She's a ghost, a myth, a billionaire with no blockchain who vanished in heels. And honestly, if that's not the most on-brand thing for a crypto villain to do, I don't know what is. But let's not give her too much mythical credit. Behind the velvet curtains and Swarovski-studded lies was a criminal operation so messy it'd make even FTX look like a charity bake sale. While she was sipping champagne on private jets and ghosting regulators like a Tinder date gone federal, people were losing their life savings. I'm talking about retired school teachers in Uganda, factory workers in Vietnam, single moms in the Philippines. They didn't know what blockchain was. They didn't care. They saw a well-dressed woman with a PhD, telling them they could finally escape poverty if they just believed. But belief without proof is a church, and this was a cult. A financial doomsday cult powered by slick marketing, staged testimonials, and an app that literally showed made-up numbers going up. There was no real wallet, no open ledger, just a centralized server spitting out fake balances. The coins weren't transferable. You couldn't withdraw them. But if you dared ask questions, you were labeled a hater, a non-believer, a saboteur. Internal documents later showed they had an actual manual, a playbook for how to deal with negative journalists. You know you're running a scam when your onboarding document reads like a North Korean press kit. And the worst part, she nearly pulled off the perfect crime. Because Ruja didn't just want to defraud people, she wanted to weaponize their loyalty. She made herself the product. People weren't investing in a coin, they were investing in her. She gave interviews talking about growing up poor, about being bullied for being smart, about how men never took her seriously. It was TED Talk feminism rebranded as financial warfare. And it worked. At its peak, OneCoin was pulling in over $100 million a month. That's not a typo. $100 million monthly from over 175 countries. That kind of money doesn't just disappear. It evaporates into trusts, shell companies, gold bars, real estate, yachts, and probably into the Swiss bank account of some plastic surgeon who made her look like a background Bond girl from Casino Royale. There's a theory that she used dark web documents to forge a new identity. Another that says she bribed her way into state protection in a Balkan country with no extradition treaty. Someone even said she's living in a luxury compound guarded by mercenaries in the U apparati, which honestly, iconic if true. But if she's alive, and that's still a big if, she's playing the long game, the hide forever and become a legend game. Think about it. We live in a surveillance dystopia where a C-list influencer can't cheat on their keto diet without it making it to TMZ. And yet this woman vanished off the grid with $4 billion and hasn't even been caught buying toothpaste. That's not luck. That's logistics. That's planning. That's having dirt on the right people, possibly encrypted in a USB drive buried inside a matryoshka doll in a safe house no one can pronounce. But you know who didn't vanish? The people she left behind. Investors who spent years trying to get refunds, only to realize there's nothing left to refund. Investigators trying to piece together a jigsaw puzzle where half the pieces were flushed down Dubai toilets. And her brother, Constantine, who turned state's witness faster than a folding chair in a hurricane. His testimony was wild. He admitted in open court that OneCoin was a scam from the start, that there never was a blockchain, that the entire operation was meant to mimic the success of Bitcoin without the messy tech parts. But Ruja didn't like messy. She liked optics, stagecraft, applause. She once told her team, "We're not selling coins, we're selling dreams." Literal cult leader vibes. Like if Elizabeth Holmes and Jordan Belfort had a love child and raised it on champagne and white-collar delusion. And the dream she sold was financial freedom. The kind that makes poor people feel seen, And that's what makes her dangerous. She understood that the best scams aren't just about greed, they're about hope, about giving people who've been left out of the system something to believe in, even if that something is a pyramid made of invisible coins and broken promises. Even now, years later, there are still Telegram groups where OneCoin loyalists trade fake screenshots and conspiracy theories. They say she's coming back, that the true blockchain is hidden, that the government was threatened by her power. It's like a Canaan side quest for crypto boomers, a psychosis wrapped in spreadsheets. Meanwhile, the rest of the crypto world moved on. ENFs got stupid, DeFi got overleveraged, CZ got arrested. But Ruja became myth. And maybe that's what she wanted all along. Not to be rich, not to be caught, but to be remembered. To have her name whispered like a spell by people who still believe she changed the world, even if all she really did was empty their wallets and vanish with a smirk. And honestly, if this were a movie, we'd all be cheering. The anti-hero, the femme fatale, the evil genius who beat the system at its own game. But this isn't a movie, it's real life. And in real life, people died, families were destroyed, and a woman who dressed like a villain from a crypto opera walked off with one of the biggest hauls in financial crime history and still has the audacity to be missing. So what do we do with that? What do we do with the ghost of a scam so well dressed? It almost deserved a standing ovation. We remember it. We tell the story loudly, in all its chaotic, salacious, glittery horror. Because if Ruja ever does come back, if she ever dares to step foot on the same soil as an extradition treaty will be waiting, with questions, with handcuffs, and with the bitter irony that the queen of crypto turned out to be nothing but a fairy tale told on the blockchain's darkest day.